beautiful friends, it's Amanda here, and today we're talking about a new palette from ColourPop. I know, you're all surprised ColourPop is launching a new palette, but really, since the holidays, they have seriously slowed down. The month of December was crazy. They launched so many new products, so going a week without a new product was what I would consider a break for ColourPop. This is the new palette. By the time you see this video, it will already be available on their website. It's called It's My Pleasure, and it kind of makes me think of ordering at Chick-fil-A, but that's neither here nor there. This is one of their 9-pan palettes, and those are priced at $12 a piece, so I'm expecting that this one will be the same price, and I also expect that this will be a permanent part of their palette line. The outer packaging is a heavy-duty plastic. It does have the shade names printed on the back. They are also inside next to the pans. I love that. This palette does have a lock and clasp closure, so it is not magnetic. And when we open up the palette, there's a nice big mirror, 9 shades of course, and then the shade names printed next to each pan. Of the 9 shades in here, 3 are true mattes. 1 is a matte with glitter, 2 are shimmering duochromes, and 2 are regular metallic shimmers. 4 of these shades are currently available as singles from ColourPop Cosmetics. This one in the corner here called Pretty Cruel has been available for a while. And then the shades Mr. Sandman, Earthshine, and Sleeper were just released as part of their new single collection. I did a whole swatch and review video on that new singles collection. It's called You're Dreamy. I will link that video in the description box if you want to see the other shades. I'm sure a lot of people are not going to be thrilled about the repeated shades. If you already purchased them as singles, then I can see why this would not really be your favorite thing to see in this palette. But if you were holding off on purchasing those because you were interested in them, but you didn't just want to buy a couple singles, or a lot of these shades that are duplicated into this palette have been sold out quite a lot. So if you wanted them but they were sold out, now you can get them in this palette. So maybe it's a good thing they were sold out. I don't know. I will show you a tutorial. I used every single shade from this palette on my eye look today. I just sort of got carried away adding things, and then by the time I got done, I realized there was only one shade I didn't use, so I just slapped it on my eyelids too. So I will show you a very complete tutorial using every shade in this palette. First, we're gonna do some swatches. As always, I'll be doing both finger and brush swatches on the back of my hand with no primer down first. The finger swatches will be on the top, and then below will be the corresponding brush swatches. For the brush swatches, I'll be using my e.l.f. flat eyeshadow brush, and I'll clean the brush off in between each shade using my Vera Mona color switch. Here is the first round of swatches from the It's My Pleasure palette. First, we have this really cool pinky lilac matte shade called Kittenfish. Next up is a shimmering purple to blue. This one is Do or Dough. Next to that is Pretty Cruel, which is the matte mauve shade with gold glitters. Then the first shade on the middle row is called Bare Minimum. This is one of my favorites from the palette. It's a beautiful reddish, purpley, shimmery, metallic goodness. And as you can see, this one looks a lot better when applied with the finger, so that is how I would recommend applying pretty much any shimmer, but definitely this one. And lastly, we have a pale, lavenderish, bluish, shifting duochrome. This one is Earthshine. Here are the rest of the swatches from the palette. This beautiful shimmering royal purple is called Chicklet. I think this is one of the standouts of the palette. Next we have Mr. Sandman, another duochrome from their recent singles release. Then we have some matte shades on the end here. First is a cool toned medium rose. This one is called Fanfiction. And lastly, a deep purpley burgundy called Sleeper. Now that you've seen all the swatches, let's jump into a quick tutorial using the It's My Pleasure palette, and then I'll wrap up all my thoughts at the end. I'm starting off, just like I always do, by priming my eyelids with my favorite eye base. It's the MAC Paint Pot in the shade Painterly. Then I'm going straight in with my transition shade. I'm starting off with Kitten Fish, that nice lilac matte shade, building that into my crease, and I'm going to be layering a lot of colors, so I'm not being super precise here, just starting to get a base laid down for a whole lot of purple eyeshadow. The next thing I'm going to do is take the shade Sleeper on a flat brush and start patting that on the outer corner of my eye. This shade is quite dark, so I'm building it up really slowly and blending it across the outer part of my lid. Then I took the shade Fan Fiction and I used that to blend together all the shades right up into my crease so that we have a nice smooth transition, no rough edges there, and really bringing out some more bright pink in this look as well. The next thing I'm going to do is take Pretty Cruel on a small flat brush and start sweeping that along the lower lash line. This is going to be a pretty intense eye look, so I wanted a little balance down there. Next, I'm going to take Bare Minimum. This is one of my favorite shades in the palette, and using my fingertip, I'm just building that up over most of my lid, leaving some space on the inner corner blank. Then I'm going to take Do or Dough, and again, just using my fingertip, filling in that blank space and blending right into Bare Minimum. Now I'm going to use Mr. Sandman on a small flat brush and put that around the inner corner. And I'm going to layer Earthshine right on top of that shade for a really bright duochrome shimmery inner corner. Lastly, last shade I haven't used yet, I'm taking Chicklet and just adding a little tiny bit of depth to that outer corner. Then I did not curl my lashes because, fun fact, my eyelash curler broke. Added some NARS Climax mascara, and that's the finished look. This is so bright. I love how shiny and colorful it is. I am just so happy with how this eye look turned out. I feel fairly certain that people are going to be unhappy with the amount of repeat shades in this palette. That just tends to be a trend, and I see why. If you've already purchased those singles, you just feel like you're kind of wasting your money on a palette that already has those same shades in it, and I get that. I definitely get that. But keep in mind, even if you already own 2 or 3 of these single shades, the singles are $5 a piece, and this entire palette is $12. So you're getting a much better value in the palette format than you are by purchasing individual shadows. I know that it gets kind of complicated when we start talking about the promotions, build your own palette sale, etc. And nobody wants to have a ton of duplicates. It's just waste of space, waste of money. I did purchase those singles and I'm still glad that I have this palette. I love the color scheme in here. I think monochromatic, colorful palettes are really gonna be a thing this year. This is a smart play by ColourPop, and honestly, I think that the standout shades from this are the new shades. When I hauled all the new singles, I counted Mr. Sandman and Earthshine among some of my favorites, and I still love those eyeshadows. And if this was my first time seeing them, I would probably think they were more of the top of the pile from this palette, but I honestly think that, at least for me, for my preferences, the shades Bare Minimum, Do or Dough, and Chicklet are so special. They're so beautiful. The entire performance of this palette is on par with other ColourPop palettes, and if you've seen literally any of my videos, then you know that ColourPop makes some of my all-time most favorite eyeshadows. I'm really a big fan of this palette. I love purple eyeshadow. I've really been feeling purple eyeshadow lately. In the singles eyeshadow haul where I swatched all the new singles and I talked about these shades, Earthshine, and I said that I was most drawn to the purples, and that was before I even knew that this palette was coming out. So I definitely enjoy this. If you're looking for something a little bit more intense in a purple look, this is the palette that you're looking for. I think you could get a more toned down look out of this if you just stayed in like Kitten Fish, Pretty Cruel, Mr. Sandman, Sleeper. Like if you took the 4 corners, you could get a much more toned down look. But overall, you're getting a lot of color, bright purples, lots of shimmer duochrome. This is not a boring purple and mauve palette. This is a bright, really, really fun purple palette, and I'm here for it. I love it. Great value, great quality. I've done enough raving about ColourPop palettes. You already know my feelings on this. All in all, very happy with this palette, and I think this makes a great addition to the ColourPop line. Now's the time when I want to hear what you think about this. Are you just infuriated by the duplicate colors? Do you love purple? Are you excited for this? Are you looking for more monochromatic palettes? I really do think that we're gonna see more of these. I wanna see a green one next. Please share your thoughts in the comments below, and as always, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye! What? Huh? It's up to you to decide. Okay, let's get it started. Whoa. Okay, calm down. I wonder how many times I've said e.l.f. flat eyeshadow brush and wrap up all my thoughts at the end. That moment when you realize how boring your catchphrases are. Look, it's an informational channel, okay? It's what we're here for. You already knew I was gonna say that. I feel like my highlight just looks, this is exactly how I want my highlight to look. Like, you can see it, it's definitely there, but it just looks like glowy skin. It's NARS. Just all of this right here, just love it. Okay, calm down, we're talking about eyeshadow, not eyeliner. I hate it when I say that.